We want to start with Jeff Wilson Jr. You've had a lot you want to say about this particular injury. We've been conversing via email about this particular subject. You're passionate about it. I'd love you to share what your feelings about the Jeff Wilson Jr. injury.
Yeah, absolutely. First off, thanks for having me back. It's good to be here. How are you today?
I'm great. I've been looking forward to this all day.
All right, awesome.
How are you
let's
doing?
get right to it. So one of the things I think led to the injury that Jeff Wilson Jr. had was probably squatting. And I want to jump right into that and what I really think the 49ers are not doing, as is evidenced by the fact that practices have been dialed back to 1 hour.
Yes.
And I'm going to get to that at the end. So the first thing with Jeff Wilson's injury, whenever you're doing front, I'm more of a fan of front squats because if you put yourself in a position where you're overlifting or you have to bail out, it will fall off because it's up here in front. So it's less injury prone. However, back squats are easier. You're stronger with your back squat. And so the ego is boosted by how much you can back squat.
That's what I do. That's what I do, back squats.
Right. And they're great for your glutes and things like that. But it's not as squat intensive. And as a result, you do not engage your patella in the same way. So whenever you're doing back squats, you should have activated. I can almost guarantee they're not spending the 30 minutes of activation they need to do.
Oh, I don't do that. I don't even know what that means.
Basically, for wide receivers, they should be doing skipping and then jogging and then actually do like maybe a quarter mile, half mile run. Then do glute activators, like they call them fire hydrants, the less vulgar version. Okay. Things like that. These humble things that, to be honest with you, even for me, are annoying.
Yes.
But you have to do them. And these guys, this is their job. So whenever you're doing like back squats or leg extensions, non-elliptical exercises like leg extensions, which I do not recommend, the patella extends because of the engagements. And you have to strengthen the muscles that connect your tendons around that. And you have to deactivate them as well. You cannot just go straight from lifting to sitting down. That's actually the worst thing you can do. And what did the report say?
He went straight from lifting to sitting down.
Right. So his patella was basically not engaged properly. When he went to sit up, to use layman's terms, I think he was probably more free floating. And that's why it was able to grind the way that it did. And the doctor that you had on the show, he made the point that it has to do with conditioning. So I'm calling it activation and deactivation exercise. He called it conditioning. That's basically what I mean. It's the same thing. They are not conditioning these guys properly, guaranteed.
Warm-ups and cool-downs.
Exactly. But the problem is you'll see it at the gym. How many guys go straight to lifting?
That's what I do. And then I walk out. And then I get hurt.
Sometimes you don't have a lot of time. I mean, you're also a journalist and a reporter. So like,
and I'm terrible at lifting. I don't know what I'm doing. I just go in there and I look and see what one guy's putting up, and I'm like, I might be stronger. Let me put up a higher number, and then I feel better about myself.
Right. And I don't want to call him out. He's one of my favorite 49ers. Yes. You guys will be able to figure this out. He can squat around 600 pounds, but he only does a half squat. What's the point of that? You know who I'm talking about. What is the point of that? This is that ego lifting. And I really hate to say, because these guys, they have passion, they care for the game, but someone needs to really pull the leash on this and make sure, guys, don't care how much you're squatting today if you don't warm up.
Right. And it's so competitive, right? I need to squat more than this guy. I need to prove that I'm the alpha in this room. And then that leads to, bad form.
And especially for Jeff Wilson Jr., I don't think there's a guy on this team who probably feels more competitive. And the reason I say that is because he's got Raheem Mostert, who is, I hate to say it, a little bit injury prone.
Yep.
And so he's like, you know what? I need to prove to Kyle and the rest of the staff, not only am I the better goal line back, I can still catch the ball, I'm still explosive, and I'm stronger, and I'm more durable. So he's probably more motivated to have done what he did.
Yeah, absolutely. He was set up to do it. There's another thing that's interesting about what the Niners aren't doing, or what I've noticed. When Harbaugh was the coach, after first of all, the practices were so long. They weren't high intensity. They would just be kind of leisurely and long, about 3 hours. And then when they were done, whoever the trainer was back then, Mark Uyama, would set up these cold tubs outside, a ton of them. And you just see like all these Niners in the cold tub, and they hated it. It looked awful, but they did it. I mean, Frank Gore was in there all the time, and I just can't help but notice I don't see that anymore. Maybe they do it inside where I'm not noticing, but I don't see the cold tubs anymore. Are those important?
Extremely important.
Yeah.
So I fight full contact. I'm getting punched. I'm having to pivot on my joints. I'm not doing jump cuts, but darn near and things like that. The bottom line is the human body, when it's in a high contact sport, whether it's martial arts or football, honestly, I'd do it if I was a hockey player. It's an anti-inflammatory exercise that you can do. It's literally maintenance and conditioning of your body. You have swollen fingers from catching the football. Randy Moss said Colin Kaepernick broke one of his fingers once with a pass. It doesn't matter what position on the field you are playing, you have to ice yourself. Frank Gore, like the 49er, I think he encompasses all things 49er. And he made the point, I don't like it, but I do it. And that's why I'm still running at my age. I can't remember how many years ago he said that in an interview, but he said, you know, it's the little things. I'm straight to the ice bath. As I recall, he even answered questions from in there before.
Yes. Yeah, I believe he did. I believe he did. He would do it all the time, every day.
Exactly.
And it looked like such a tough guy move, you know?
Yeah, it's anti-inflammatory. So like on a particular day, I'll run, say, 5 miles. I'll do maybe like 90 front squats or some superset like that. There's no way I should then go right back to the gym and be doing lunges and heavy lifting the next day without taking my ice bath. I do it once a week.
True.
I should be doing it every day. I hate it, but I do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are all these like tried and true old school methods the Niners could be using to fix this. And it seems like what we learned from the Jeff Wilson Jr. injury is that there's an oversight with a lot of this stuff.